What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and we have something extra fun for today's video. We are going to take a look at the legendary Elden Ring PvP build guide by IGN. Now, I have browsed through this and seen clips, and boy howdy, you remember that Verge PC build video? Well, it might be surpassed. Yeah, this is something. This is quality entertainment. So let's jump in. We're gonna enjoy this together like it's movie night. Millennials. Okay, Havel Mages, liking it so far. We're looking
PvP
good.
in Elden Ring can be great fun, but also quite challenging. The competition have been honing their skills against demigods and dragons alike since release. We're going to show you the ins and outs of making a PvP build, as well as an example build using those principles. Here's how to best prepare yourself against the hardest of Elden Ring bosses, other players.
How to make a PvP build.
Elden Ring is super flexible, so there are a ton of viable build options for any given situation. We're going to point out some of the better pieces of equipment and then create an example from those. But don't be afraid to experiment once you've mastered the basics. If you're curious about where to get a particular weapon or piece of equipment, check out our written guide on IGN. When choosing pieces of armor for your character, the defensive stats are most important. Poise helps reduce stagger when you're attacked, which can be crucial for squeaking out one last strike or managing a quick escape. Damage negation is equally important, allowing you to potentially take an additional hit or two. To this end, we recommend the Bull Goat set, or a similar alternative,
just full bull
like
goats.
the lighter weight veteran set, or the Omen set if you're into that kind of thing. These armors have high poise.
Level 209. 209. Let's take a brief look at the stats here. So we got 60 vigor. Okay, that is a soft cap. Mind at 35. Seems kind of excessive. Endurance at 48. You're going to need it with that armor. I don't know what's going on with the stats here. 34 strength and 65 dex. There's no reason to put dex that high, and even if you were doing strength by the 1.5, that's a 52.5, which is a very odd break point. 10 intelligence, 16 arcane, 40 faith. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. This is like a weird faith dex quality build. Okay.
Along with equally high defensive stats. You need to keep your equip load to at least medium in order to dodge quickly. So if you don't have enough endurance to don one of these heavy sets, choose an alternative that'll keep you at medium load. Heavyweight dodge rolls are easy to exploit and reduces your amount of invincibility frames. If fashion is your passion, rest assured that there are plenty of alternative ways to mix and match other pieces into one of these recommended sets. There are a few armor pieces and sets that'll give you an increase to certain stats, or a passive buff like the Silver Tier Mask or the Spellblade set.
It's true. Okay.
There are a ton of viable weapon choices for PvP, so try out different weapons to see what suits your style. Your weapon choice will dictate how you allocate your stats. The most important differences between weapons are the pace of attacks, attack range, and weapon skills. You're looking for attacks that are hard to dodge, force the opponent to defend in predictable ways, or have powerful follow-up attacks. Rivers of Blood, for example, has excellent range and bleed buildup, making it very difficult to dodge and ideal for chipping away at your enemy. Yes. Some of the later game weapons, such as Dragon King's Cragblade, Sacred Relic Sword, and Hand of Millennia.
All right, real fast. Dragon King's Cragblade is super easy to dodge. It's probably one of the most telegraphed arts in the game. I love it. It's super cool. It's easy as hell to dodge. Sacred Relic Sword is complete trash in PvP. You literally roll forward. Hand of Millennia is an I win button, but anybody with a brain sees it coming and they just walk away from you. I don't know why we're recommending these. Rivers of Blood is obviously broken garbage, and everyone knows that.
Offer weapon skills that also have these qualities. There are some powerful choices that are accessible relatively early on as well, such as the Bloodhound's Fang, Moonveil, or Eleonora's Poleblade. If you prefer
Bloodhound Fang, yes. Moonveil, as we've already seen, is overused and mostly garbage because you can spell parry it. Eleonora's Poleblade is trash. You literally jump back. When you start using that, you jump backwards, and the other person can roll back and you whiff your entire weapon art.
If you're using weapons with a customizable skill, try using the Ashes of War Hoarfrost Stomp. Hoarfrost has been nerfed, and Sword Dance.
Hoarfrost get jumped.
If you're planning on building a caster or have trouble recovering...
Whoa. So not only is my dude in full Bull Goats, he's in full Bull Goats and Bloodhound stepping as a mage. This is like a new form of cancer that hasn't been discovered by the Cancer Institute yet.
Close calls. There is a specific Ash of War that needs an honorable mention. Bloodhound Step, which can be used in quick succession to quickly teleport away from a fight. Or rush in.
Alright, and now they're literally exploiting. They're Bloodhound stepping on with Fire's Deadly Sin to apply Blood Flame Blade to cause bleed procs. This is, for those that don't understand, this is literally cheating. This is already on deck to get patched. FromSoft is aware of it. This is IGN actively promoting cheating in PvP.
If you need to quickly close a gap. If dodging isn't your thing, there are two other options you can add to your build to avoid damage. The first is the parry skill. It can be hard to do, mostly because you have to time
how the one that got the
opponent's
parry
attacks
was his
perfectly.
opponent,
but
not them.
if executed correctly, it'll set you up for a powerful critical hit. The parry Ash of War can be equipped to specific weapons and shields. Speaking of shields, blocking is the other alternative. The most important stats on a shield are its damage negation percentages and its guard boost. Ideally, your shield will have 100% physical damage negation and the highest guard boost possible. This way you can reliably block physical attacks while spending as little stamina as you can, although other types of damage still bleed through. To this end, we recommend the Fingerprint Stone Shield.
Of course.
It can outright counter some people's narrow physical builds if the shield is maxed out and you're using the Great Shield Talisman.
Great Shield Talisman doesn't even function with Fingerprint anymore. They changed that in 1.04. It doesn't. I think it gives it like a guarding ability boost of like 2 or 3. It does almost negligible.
Talisman. Once you've chosen your armaments, level them up as high as possible to increase their base damage and their skills damage. The additional power is crucial. Staffs and seals are technically armaments, but they can only affect sorceries and incantations. Speaking of which, although you could use both, the number of stat points needed to efficiently use sorceries and incantation is drastic. So in most cases, it's better to choose one of these two spellcasting options
Frenzied
for your
Burst.
build. Incantations are generally the stronger choice. They have better buffs, along with a diverse set of viable spell options. Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vowel's attack buffs stack with each other, for example. Another great combo for incantation users is Fire's Deadly Sin and Blood Flame Blade. The fire damage aura from Fire's Deadly Sin will start to apply the bleed from Blood Flame Blade, making it easy to punish Tarnished you like to run. Don't count sorceries out entirely though. Some of the offensive spells are nearly impossible to dodge and hit really hard.
Sure is good.
It's a little FP intensive, but Stars of Ruin almost guarantees at least some damage while setting you up for follow-up attacks. When choosing a staff or seal to cast your spells from, keep in mind what attributes scale their power, and their additional passive effects found in their descriptions. For instance, the Frenzied Flame Seal scales with dexterity, strength, faith, and intelligence, allowing for your incantations to be powered up from all of these stats. In addition, this specific seal boosts Frenzied Flame incantations by 20%, making spells like Frenzied Burst incredibly strong. Pay attention to your staff's attribute scaling as well. The Meteorite staff starts with an S scaling in intelligence, along with a 30% boost to the power of your gravity spells. Lusat's Glintstone staff doesn't have as much scaling power, but it does increase the potency of all your sorceries by 10% at the cost of more expensive spells. Also, there are a lot of intelligence weapons that, when combined with sorceries,
I like how they just leave out that it's a 50% increase.
And the Dark Moon Greatsword. One last thing to note, a lot of sorceries and incantations can be charged by holding down the casting button. Charged spells do more damage and can increase the range at the cost of an increased spellcasting.
Who are these people they're fighting? Like,
use this to throw off an opponent's dodge timing.
He's hitting
cut your
people
cast
that aren't
short
even
for a quicker
dodging.
recovery. Just like with your weapon choice, there are a lot of good options to pick for talismans. Here are just some of our favorites. If you're building a caster, the Radagon's icon increases your casting speed as if you had 30 more points in dexterity. If you find yourself focused on your weapon skill, the Shard of Alexander boosts its damage by 15%. The +5 to Vigor, Endurance, Strength, and Dexterity from Radagon's Sword Seal more than makes up for the 15%.
It doesn't. It does not make up because the increased damage you take is higher in PvP than it is in PvE, especially at level 209. Why would you use something that's going to cause you to take roughly 15 to 20% more damage when you don't need those stats because you're already leveled past any meta level? This is beyond the discussion of 125 versus 150. This dude is past 200.
15% increase in coming damage. Especially if you prioritize HP with other great talismans like the Erd Tree's Favor +2 or the Crimson Amber Medallion. The Bull Goat's Talisman increases poise by a staggering 33%. The Great Jar's Arsenal provides a 19% increase to the max equip load. allowing you to use heavier armor and weapons. Finally, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman
Doesn't do
decreases
anything
all
in
the physical
PvP.
damage taken by 17%.
Does
You
almost
won't
nothing
be able
in
to choose
PvP.
all of these, but try to find the ones that suit your style the best.
This is bad.
There are a few things to keep in mind when choosing your stats for PvP. Mind is important in relation to how much you rely on your skills or spells to do your damage. Take note of how many times you can use Bloodhound's Finesse or Stars of Ruin, and then
Make
choose
sure you
your
can
amount
use
of mind
Bloodhound
to
stat
accommodate a certain
plenty.
amount of uses. Vigor reigns supreme and should be your top priority. Being able to take an additional Rivers of Blood slap could be the edge you need for a win. Ideally, your endurance will be the exact amount needed for you to carry all of your gear and stay within a medium weight load. Using talismans to increase your weight
I think that's probably the one thing that they've said this video that I'm actually like, yes, that is correct. You want your endurance at exactly enough for medium load.
capacity won't come with the increased stamina that endurance does. Strength and dexterity should both be proportionally invested in relation to what stats your weapons scale with, but each comes with its own unique benefit. Dexterity decreases your casting time, so hybrid build casters may want to pair their
It's fat
spells with a
rolling
dex
right now.
weapon. When you two-hand a weapon, your strength score increases by 50%, also increasing that weapon's damage. Intelligence and faith, like strength and dexterity, is most often a binary choice. Depending on what kind of casting you choose, along with how much you'll depend on casting, will dictate how many points to allocate towards these stats. Note that even buff spells are empowered by a higher related casting stat. The only
Not
PvP-related
100%
benefit
accurate.
Arcane provides
Weapon
is
buffs
with
are
weapons that
sacred.
specifically scale
Stuff like Flame Grant Me Strength and Sacred Vow, all that's a flat percentage base. It has no impact on your stats whatsoever.
off Arcane. The additional blood, madness, poison, or sleep damage scales off the amount of Arcane you have, but only with weapons that also scale off Arcane.
No, it doesn't. That's all right. That's just factually incorrect. It doesn't. The amount of arcane you have has a very, very small amount of buildup. You're looking at roughly 1% additional bleed buildup per point of arcane. It in no way impacts the amount of damage you do with that status effect when it procs. Frostbite status, bleed, madness, all of the damage that you get from those effects is already set and completely independent of your arcane stat.
When considering your
Ooh,
flasked Wondrous Physick options, know that PvP fights won't always last that long, and you won't always have it available in every fight. Use it for a quick boost to your power by choosing one of the Crystal Knot tiers to increase the stat by 5, along with one of the Shrouded
We need a
Crack tiers
Crystal
for a more
Knot tier at
specific
level
type of
200.
damage. Stamina is needed for every weapon swing, so the 15 stamina per
And he's
second
using
recovery
Opaline
from the
Bubble
Green
tier,
Burst
most of the
Crystal
footage
tier
we've
is
seen.
nice to have.
Which, as we've covered, Opaline tier is garbage because it falls off. You see people using Opaline tiers and you literally just, you hit them with a single throwing knife or bestial sling or anything. It falls right off.
Rather go into the fight with some additional defenses? The Opaline Bubble tier can absorb most of the damage from your opponent's next attack.
No,
The Crimson
all right. First off, it doesn't absorb most of the damage. Oh my god! It absorbs one singular hit, and it doesn't matter what that hit is. It doesn't absorb damage from the next attack. It doesn't absorb most. It negates damage from a singular attack. God, how is this? Like I said, I heard this was on par with like the Verge PC build video, but this is I think probably the most uninformed video I've ever seen on Elden Ring. Like the deeper it goes, the worse it gets somehow.
Level tier heals you for 30% of your maximum HP once you drop below 20%. If you have a lot of HP, using both the Crimson Crystal tiers to heal all of it in one potion is also useful.
No, we don't do that in PvP.
Now that we've laid out the principles for crafting an efficient PvP build, let's put one together. In this build, we're taking a
Hold on. All right, Bloodhound's Fang, I like it. Sacred Relic Sword. I think he actually has a Bloodhound's Fang and a Sacred Relic Sword both equipped in this build. Frenzied Flame Seal, Crystalline and Opaline Bubble tiers. Opaline is garbage. Crimson is only going to be useful versus mages. Bullgoat's set. Bullgoat's Talisman. Why do you need 133 poise? You do not need the Source Seal. That's doing nothing for you here. The Erdtree Favor and Greatjar's Arsenal are actually useful. Blood Flame Blade, Flame Grant Me Strength, Golden Vow, Fire's Deadly Sin, Swarmflies. You know what? I would probably bet that this guy, we're going to watch more to see, but I would bet he doesn't even know that Flame Grant Me Strength and Fire's Deadly Sin conflict with one another. Honed Bolt. I wonder if he even spams it, because he doesn't have the quick cast on. So he's hard casting Honed Bolt. He has Barrier of Gold, Rot, and he's abusing the Flame exploit. This is spicy.
advantage of the bleed buildup mechanic as a faith caster using dex weapons. The curved greatsword Bloodhound's Fang has Blood Blast buildup, but can be improved with the Blood Flame incantation, which also adds fire damage. The fire damage is buffed with the Flame Grant Me Strength incantation, which also increases physical damage.
That's correct.
This physical damage buff stacks exponentially with Golden Vow, which applies a damage and defensive buff simultaneously. This defense is backed up by our equipment, with the damage negation and poise of the Bull Goat set complemented by the Bull Goat's Talisman. This combination brings us to 100.
Your defense is being brought down because of the Source Seal. Look at this. He has on Bull Goats. Look at his mitigation values. Imagine being full Bull Goats and having 15% magic mitigation and sub 30 on all of your physical. And this guy doesn't realize this is bad.
33 poise, the maximum without consumable items like Balachin's Blessing. Radagon's Source Seal's benefits are too good to pass up.
No,
so
they're
our
not.
Wondrous Flask is
bad.
mixed with the Crimson
They
and
are
Opening
bad.
Bubble Tears, giving us defensive buffs to help mitigate its negative effect. Erdtree's Favor +2 also helps mitigate Radagon's Source Seal's deficits. by
No, it
providing more
doesn't!
HP, and comes with additional stamina and equipped load.
Oh
That,
my god,
combined
dude.
with Great Jar's arsenal, makes our tanky build comfortably sit at a medium load. The Frenzied Flame Seal is chosen for its dexterity scaling, along with the added buff to our range incantation, Frenzied Burst. For stats, Vigor and Dexterity are the priority.
I mean, yeah, I'd be using a Frenzied Flame too if I had, what is that, 40 Faith, 65 Dex, and 34 Strength.
Followed by a high Faith and Mind to support the many buff and offensive spells in the build. The Intelligence, Arcane, and Endurance stats are resting at the amounts needed for the necessary requirements of our spells and equipped load. Our armaments have a little bit of strength scaling, so we invested a few points in it as well.
We just
As for our
slap someone
other
to strength.
incantations, Swarm of Flies combines well with the hemorrhage effects of our Bloodhound's Fang. It also adds a powerful slow-moving ability to
more
our arsenal to
exploit.
keep the
Awesome.
opponents guessing.
Yeah, keep
Fire's
it
Deadly
going.
Sin removes the Flame Grant Me Strength buff, but because it applies
they actually
blood
called
loss
it
to your
out!
Bloodflame Blade, it's a great option for chasing down.
Oh, wow. All right. I will give them minor kudos because they are actually aware that those two spells conflict with one another. But to be honest, those kudos are completely lost because they're actively promoting the exploit of Fire's Deadly Sin and Bloodflame Blade.
Maidenless Tarnished who spam their dodges.
Whoa, whoa. What did he just say?
Chasing down Maidenless Tarnished who spam their dodges.
This man put up a video promoting exploits, Havel Mages, and Bloodhound Step, and has the audacity. Let's hear it one more time.
Chasing down Maidenless Tarnished who spam their dodges.
Maidenless Tarnished who spam their dodges. And they're going to counter that with exploits.
Honed Bolt is another great answer to interrupting dodge spamming, and happens to be great at punishing players who try to heal. Ekzaiki's Decay could be replaced with any other named dragon breath options, and is mainly used to switch up strategies in case of a stalemate. Barrier of Gold helps counter magic builds by increasing magic resistance by 60%. All that leaves is the Sacred Relic Sword. This weapon is perfect for our Dex and Faith build, scaling from both of them. Its Wave of Gold skill is devastatingly powerful, has a knockback effect, huge range, and makes for a great opening attack. Regardless of what build you choose to make, determining the pace of combat is crucial. Using slow-moving abilities like the Swarm of Flies incantation or the Wave of Gold skill are great ways to force your opponent to react in ways that you can predict. Follow up with faster options like a dash attack or Bloodhound's Finesse to take advantage of the predictable dodges that come after. You could also move forward with these slow-moving abilities to close the gap if your strength lies in a melee strategy, like this one. You'll want to apply buffs right before the fight, but they don't last forever. Look for opportunities to reapply them mid-fight when they run out. Once you've practiced for a while, consider rearranging your spells to make switching them easier to do while in combat. Your build has to be able to answer for the array of other builds. The best PvP players will have options against the many strategies you'll potentially face. With these tips, we hope you'll be farming fellow Tarnished for runes and rune arcs in no time. Let us know about any combinations you've found success with in PvP, or where your favorite place to fight is. For more on Elden Ring, be sure to check out our sorcery build guide for a more spell-focused character, or our guide on how to unlock the secret endgame area of Nicola's Haligtree.
Oh, we got it. Do we have to? Let's briefly look. Let's just take a look. Let's take a look. Intro. I want to see getting started. I want to see finished build. What does it look
Although
like?
plenty of players are content to follow the way of the
Putting
sword
it
on
all
their journey through
together.
the lands between, magic is surprisingly powerful in hidden tier. Upgrade Lusat's glintstone staff as much as you can at the
Where's it
blacksmith
at? Where's
before
it at?
equipping
Where's it
Comet
at?
Azure and Terra Magica. Raven School.
This isn't even a done build. He's at 81, 25 vigor. You're getting one shot. There's no mind to cast with. Why do you have 15 strength and 14 dex on an intelligence character? Man, this is bad. This is bad. Is this what happens when I stop playing Elden Ring? Like, do I need to come back? Because I mean, I know I'm kind of in the in-between like the casual audience and the hardcore audience. This isn't okay. Someone needs to stop this. This should not be allowed.